Evening. Grab a seat. I've got a story for you. It's about the one kind of business I've watched make it through absolutely everything. I'm Michael, and this is Investor Voice. Over the years, I've talked with all sorts of entrepreneurs. Some made a killing in tech, real estate, or the stock market. Others lost everything when bubbles popped and the market tanked. Through all those ups and downs, recessions, political messes, pandemics, even local disasters, I noticed something funny. There was always this one shop on the corner, still open, lights on, customers coming in, even when everything else was falling apart. That shop was always a local grocery store, sometimes a bakery, maybe a little food shop that everyone in the neighborhood knew. And it got me thinking, what actually makes a business truly resilient? Not the flashy ones people brag about, but the honest, steady kind that just keeps going no matter what. Turns out, the answer is so simple, most people miss it. Tonight, I want to let you in on what I found. Let's just say it. Food isn't optional. You can cancel Netflix. You can push that new car off another year. Skip the vacation. Cut back on almost anything when money gets tight. But you can't just stop eating. 3 times a day, every day, for your whole life, you need food. That's not a trend or a market cycle. It's biology. It's been true for everyone who's ever lived, and it'll stay true for everyone who comes after us. That simple fact is what economists call a defensive sector. It's a fancy way of saying, here's an industry people can't quit, no matter how bad things get. And food? Food is about as defensive as it gets. I remember sitting with a friend back in 2008. Smart guy, ran a strong construction business. When the housing market crashed, his company disappeared almost overnight. Projects gone, payments frozen, and a few months later, he was fighting to keep his house. Meanwhile, his cousin across town ran a small grocery store. Was he raking it in? Absolutely not. But he was okay. People still needed food. Maybe they bought rice and beans instead of steak, but they kept buying. The store stayed open every day, while luxury shops and construction companies were shutting down left and right. That contrast stuck with me. It showed me real stability doesn't come from the businesses everyone's talking about. It comes from the boring, necessary, everyday places nobody notices, at least not until everything else goes wrong. So, what makes food businesses so tough? Why are they worth thinking about, whether you're investing, building something, or just trying to figure out how the world works? Let's look at the most obvious example, the grocery store. Honestly, it's hard to beat a grocery store for pure stability. Just think about what they sell: flour, rice, oil, sugar, salt, spices, milk, eggs, veggies, fruit, tea, coffee, snacks. Not things you buy once and forget. These are the basics you pick up every week, sometimes more. People use them, run out, and come back for more. That cycle never stops as long as people live in the neighborhood. I've got a friend who owns a little grocery store in a residential area. Nothing fancy, just a clean, well-stocked shop that's been there 30 years. He knows his customers by name. He knows what they buy, when they drop in, even the stuff happening in their families. And they keep coming back because it's close, because they trust him, because he's part of their lives. That store has made it through everything. The dot-com crash, the 2008 meltdown, a global pandemic, months of road construction that blocked off the street. Through it all, people needed to eat, and they needed a place to get their food. That's not luck. That's just the nature of the business. Another beautiful thing about grocery stores is how they can grow over time. You don't have to start with a massive supermarket. You can begin with a small shop, a limited selection of the most essential items, and expand gradually as your customer base grows. Add cleaning supplies, add toiletries, add baby products, add a small selection of household goods. Over time, you become more and more essential to your community. People stop going to multiple stores. They come to you for everything they need. Now let's talk about another food business that I have a particular fondness for, the local bakery. There's something magical about a bakery. The smell of fresh bread in the morning, the warmth of the ovens, the line of customers waiting for their daily loaf. And that daily loaf is the key. In so many cultures around the world, bread is not a luxury, it's a staple. It's what people eat with breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's the foundation of the meal. Bakeries have a natural advantage that many other food businesses don't. Their products are perishable. They need to be fresh. You can't buy a week's worth of bread and store it in the freezer and expect it to taste the same. So people come back every day or every other day to get fresh products. That creates a natural rhythm of repeat business that builds customer loyalty over time. And bakeries are versatile. A good bakery doesn't just sell bread, it sells cakes for birthdays and celebrations. It sells pastries for special occasions. It sells cookies and biscuits for snacks. It might even sell sandwiches and small meals for lunch. The product range can expand as the business grows, tapping into different sources of demand while still serving that core daily need. I think about the bakeries I've visited in different countries over the years. In France, the bakery is the heart of the neighborhood. In India, local bakeries supply everything from bread to traditional sweets. In the Middle East, bakeries produce fresh flatbreads that people eat with every meal. Every culture has its version of the bakery, and in every culture, it's an essential part of daily life. Then there are the specialized food shops that focus on particular categories. Fruit and vegetable vendors, for example. Fresh produce is something people want and need every day. Unlike packaged goods that can be bought in bulk, fresh fruits and vegetables have a limited life. You buy them, you eat them, and you need to buy them again. A well-run fruit and vegetable shop, located in a busy area with good foot traffic, can build a remarkably stable business. Dairy shops are another example. Milk, yogurt, butter, cheese. These are consumed daily in millions of households. In many places, people prefer to buy fresh dairy products from a local shop rather than from a big supermarket. They trust the local source. They know the owner. They know where the products come from. That trust is incredibly valuable and incredibly hard for a large chain to replicate. I also want to talk about a segment that's often overlooked, but is absolutely massive. Small takeaway food shops and street food vendors. In cities all over the world, millions of people don't cook at home every day. They're too busy, too tired, or just not interested. They buy their meals from small local vendors, a sandwich shop, a burger stand, a place that sells traditional fast food, a stall on the street corner. These businesses serve an essential need. They provide ready-to-eat food at affordable prices for people who don't have the time or energy to prepare their own meals. I've seen these businesses thrive in good economies and bad. In fact, during tough economic times, they can actually do better. People who used to eat at expensive restaurants start looking for more affordable options. They discover the local takeaway shop, realize the food is good and the price is right, and they become regular customers. One of the things I love most about food businesses is how accessible they are. You don't need millions of dollars to get started. You don't need a Harvard MBA. You don't need to invent some revolutionary new product. You just need to understand what people in your community need and be willing to show up every day and provide it well. You can open a grocery store in a tiny rented space with just a few shelves and the basics. A bakery? All you really need is one oven and maybe your grandmother's favorite recipe. Even a takeaway shop can start as simply as a cart on a busy corner. What matters is building trust. As people come back and start telling their friends, your business grows. Slowly at first, but steady and real. But let's not kid ourselves. Stable doesn't mean easy. Food businesses don't run on autopilot. They come with their own set of headaches, and you've got to know what you're getting into. Inventory is a big one. Food goes bad. Buy too much, and you're tossing cash in the trash. Buy too little, and you miss out on sales and annoy your regulars. You have to pay attention, figure out what your customers want, and get good, really good, at guessing what you'll need each week. And then there's quality. Hygiene isn't negotiable. One slip, one customer who gets sick, and suddenly your reputation's in tatters. You have to be on top of cleanliness, freshness, every little thing about how you handle your products. There's no shortcut here. Location's huge. The best grocery store in the wrong neighborhood will struggle. But put an average bakery in a spot where people are always walking by, and it'll do well. You've got to be where it's easy for people to stop in, near homes, near schools, busy streets. That's where food businesses really come alive. Don't forget pricing. The competition's fierce. Chances are there's another store selling pretty much the same thing just down the block. You need prices that draw people in, but still make you enough to stay afloat. It's a tightrope, and you'll have to tweak things as you go. And honestly, none of that matters if you're not good with people. Food businesses run on relationships. People buy from folks they like, folks who smile and remember their names. If you're not willing to put in that human touch, even the best food in town won't save you. Still, all these challenges, you can handle them. They're not secrets, and they're not impossible. You just have to learn, set up good systems, and keep at it. The payoff? A business that can support you and your family for decades. A business you could hand down. Something that becomes part of your neighborhood. There's something else worth talking about, too. Technology is shaking up the food business in ways that weren't even possible a generation ago. Used to be, only big chains could offer online orders and delivery. Now, even a tiny grocery shop can take orders through a messaging app. Customers send their list, you pack it, and someone pedals it over on a bike. It doesn't cost much, and suddenly your reach is way bigger. I've watched small bakeries blow up on social media. They post their daily breads and cakes, and people come in just because they saw a picture online. Someone who finds you through Instagram can turn into a loyal customer, just like someone who's lived around the corner for years. This is what's new. You get the stability of an old-school food business, but with the reach and speed that only tech can offer. It's a mix of the classic and the modern, and it opens doors that just weren't there before. So why am I, someone who usually talks about investing and finance, spending all this time on grocery stores and bakeries? It's because lasting wealth isn't built on hype or the next big thing. It's built on understanding what people will always need. Sure, chasing the hot new trend can be exciting, but the people who really build and keep their wealth are the ones who stick to the basics. They know some things never go out of style. Some businesses will always have customers, no matter how much the world changes. Here's what I keep coming back to on Investor Voice. This isn't about chasing quick money. It's about seeing the world for what it really is and putting yourself in the right spot. People think stability is dull, but honestly, it's the bedrock. Everything else depends on it. Look at your own finances. When you've got something steady, a paycheck you can trust, something that just keeps showing up, you suddenly have the freedom to take chances elsewhere. You can buy those growth stocks. You can finally launch that side hustle you've been dreaming about. You can go for it because you've got something solid to catch you if you fall. That's why I keep coming back to the food business. It isn't flashy. You're not going to turn into a billionaire overnight, but it's real. It's built on something that never goes out of style. People need to eat. And for the right person, with the right mindset, it's a path to a lifetime of steady, reliable income. I've seen it firsthand. I know folks who started with basically nothing, opened a tiny grocery shop, and over years built a business that paid their bills, put their kids through school, and made retirement comfortable. I've watched bakers get up in the middle of the night, every night, for decades, serving the same neighborhood, raising their families, building a legacy. You don't read about these people in the news, but they're the ones who keep the real economy humming, the ones whose work doesn't stop when everything else gets shaky. So when you think about your own future, your goals, your plans, take another look at the food world. Don't write it off just because it seems ordinary. Don't ignore it just because it isn't flashy. See it for what it is, one of the most stable, dependable, and accessible ways to build something real. And if you're already in the food game, maybe you run a bakery, a grocery, a little food shop, I hope you feel proud. You're not just pushing products, you're feeding your community. You're providing something essential. You're holding together a piece of society that matters, maybe more than most people realize. Thanks for hanging out with me here on Investor Voice. I know your time matters, and I'm glad you chose to spend some of it with me tonight. If something I said tonight got you thinking, if it made you see stability in a new way, I'd love it if you shared this video with someone you care about. Maybe a friend who's anxious about the economy. Maybe a family member thinking about a new business. Or just someone who needs a reminder that real value is often hiding in plain sight. And hey, if you haven't subscribed yet, I'd love to have you join the Investor Voice community. Around here, we look under the surface, past the headlines, and try to figure out what really drives our financial lives. Hit the bell so you don't miss out, and come along as we dig into the ideas that help you build something that lasts. All right, that's it for today. I'm Michael. This is Investor Voice. And just remember, the best investment you'll ever make is in your own understanding. Take care of yourself, look out for each other, and I'll catch you next time.